Right from the very start, murder mysteries and adventure games have been linked on Japanese consoles. The very first adventure game on a console was a mystery, and a lot of the people who followed copied that formula for success. Hokutosei no Onna is the first mystery on the PC Engine, maybe a bit because other adventure game genres had picked up the slack at this point. But this is a murder mystery in a classic style, a whodunit. For those of you who aren't into mysteries, the whodunit is a particular form, and it presents the mystery story essentially as a puzzle for the reader. You're getting the clues alongside whoever is investigating, and you should have gotten enough information to figure out who done it by the time that everything is revealed. A lot of classic mysteries use the whodunit formula, though it's far from the only approach to mysteries. The whodunit is perfect for games because it directly challenges the player to solve the mystery. There are very few mystery games that aren't whodunits. One problem with the whodunit as a subgenre is that a lot of authors wind up using the same bag of tricks. It's enough that any mystery fan will be able to spot the twist coming a mile away. While I was playing, I got about 10% of the way through Hokutosei no Onna, and I knew who the culprit was. After I finished my recording session, I looked up a playthrough, jumped to the end, and I was right. That's not because I'm a Tante Conan, it's just that I've read and watched enough mysteries that I could recognize the twist. Of course, figuring things out instantly doesn't mean that a mystery isn't worth reading or playing. You could still be getting a good story out of it. And in a lot of mystery stories, it doesn't even matter who did it. You're there to see how the detective figures it out. Hokutosei no Onna is based on the works of Nishimura Kyotaro, a name that's actually come up multiple times on this channel, since there were multiple Famicom adventure games based on his stories. This is actually the second game based on his work, which had a very strong focus on trains. Nearly all of his mysteries, and he published hundreds of them, had some aspect of train travel at the heart of it, and that includes Hokutosei no Onna. The key to the detective figuring out the killer revolves around train timetables. Although Nishimura published over 600 books, Hokutosei no Onna is an original story created specifically for this game. Considering he was basically publishing a book a month, he probably wrote the game's story during his ample downtime. You play as a detective for the Tokyo Metropolitan Police, and you begin following a trail of bodies. First, a mysterious man that no one seems to know was killed in a one-room apartment, and then the next victim is the one person you can determine that he contacted, the president of a real estate company who was found dead in a hotel room in Sapporo. The police there have decided to defer the investigation to the Tokyo police, and so you fly to Hokkaido to take a look at things there. After finding out that the businessman was arguing with a woman right before he was killed, you're able to obtain information that leads you to her. The killings keep happening, and you keep following the tenuous connections between the victims. This is another command-driven adventure game where you're given a menu of options, and then pick through them. Hokutosei no Onna seems to be a bit more cinematic than some, since you really get locked into a very narrow set of things to do, and essentially have to complete each scene before you move on. Mostly that's going to involve questioning witnesses, trying to pry a little bit more information out of them, and looking around crime scenes. In some areas, you're not given a list of options to investigate, you just have to get a cursor and point at the areas you want to check out. Fortunately, this doesn't seem to involve a lot of pixel hunting. Even the tiny button on the floor that you have to spot has a relatively generous area that you can click. The mystery seems to be pretty long. In the hour that I played, I got maybe 10% of the way through the game. At least when I saw a 5-part playthrough, I was halfway through the first episode of it. So even if you know what you're doing, it's a 5-hour game. And if you don't and are just questioning people and investigating like I am, it's probably closer to 10 hours. You can save at any time by pressing select, and there are 4 save slots for the CD-ROM unit's internal memory. Hokutosei no Onna seems to have been kind of a big deal in Japan. A lot of that may be due to it getting released at the height of Nishimura Kyotaro's popularity, and so there was plenty of excitement around its release. But I found plenty of people who were still super excited by the game. I'm not quite as enthusiastic, but then I just investigated 2 crime scenes and couldn't get very far. I can say that the presentation in this game is very impressive. It really takes advantage of the CD-ROM, and it gives you an enormous experience. I guess the question is, would I go back and play more of this? And yeah, I would. Even though I immediately worked out who the killer was, it's still fun to watch the mystery play out. Hokutosei no Onna is a pretty good mystery game. It's just that it might not be the most mysterious.